Chris the Nightmare Ariel, and you're watching Mission Boxing Today on YouTube.
Heavyweight boxing fans, what's the deal? All right, man. So just thinking about Bryant Jennings and when he's gonna possibly make a comeback here. You know, he's been out for a while, man. His last fight was December 19th of 2015, the loss to Luis Ortiz. Let me turn this TV down. I'm watching this Wilder Duopa fight. Let me turn this down, man. All right, so yeah, man, been thinking about when is this guy going to come back. I definitely want to see Bryant Jennings back. You know, I try to post as much of his videos and some of the things he has going on Instagram just to keep, you know, his name out there, at least on my channel. Because a lot of fans, they come in and ask me about Bryant Jennings. I know that he was in the Povetkin camp, him and Chisora both in that camp. He was getting those guys prepared, or they're all getting each other, you know, getting some work from each other. But he was in that camp with Povetkin and Chisora. Chisora had the Dylan White fight coming up, and we know Povetkin had the Stavern fight, but he ended up fighting Duopa. Yeah, you know, fighting Johan Duopa. But you know, you know, Jennings, he's in excellent shape, man. I just posted a video of him yesterday. The dude's still walking around with his six-pack. He's always training, swimming, hitting the bag. He's doing something. So he's, you know, seems like he's in good shape. I even seen he played in I think Allen Iverson had like a charity basketball game a few months ago or something. I seen him playing in that. So I see him out and about, man. Just curious to when this guy's going to come back. I haven't heard anything. About Bryant Jennings, man. And he's, you know, forgotten. I think, man, when you look at the heavyweight landscape and you look at the American heavyweights, a lot of people forget about him, man. You know, he's only had 2 losses, 19-2. He did beat Artur Spilka when Spilka was undefeated. He beat Mike Perez when Perez was undefeated. That Perez fight was a close fight. And the Andre Fedosov fight. I know some of you probably wonder who the hell is Andre Fedosov. Fedosov, he is rated by one of the sanctioning bodies. I forget which one. But he's a come forward aggressive guy. He's a Russian fighter, fights out of the wild card gym. I like Fedosov, man. He won that ESPN Boxino tournament. It was a few years ago. I like Fedosov. I think style-wise, he can make for an exciting fight against another come forward type of fighter. But you know, then he had the losses to Jennings had the losses to Klitschko and Ortiz. He actually won some rounds in those fights. He came to fight in those fights, man. You know, he won some rounds, or Ortiz was just walking him into power shots that he didn't see coming. He fought confident against Klitschko. I just thought that offensively he just wasn't doing enough against Klitschko. He had his opportunities, man, where he was getting close to Klitschko. He was putting up the high guard, walking Klitschko down a few times in that fight coming forward. Just seemed as if Klitschko was just timing him with his jab and clinching Jennings. Jennings didn't let his hands go enough. He didn't look too. He just didn't let no offense go in that fight. It looked like he really didn't know when to throw. He just had his hands on the shelf too much in that fight, and there were some opportunities there when Vlad had his hands really low and he was pecking away with the jab, and Jennings didn't jab enough. You know, Jennings has an 84-inch reach. He has long ass arms, man. I like for him to use his jab a little bit more when he's coming forward and trying to set up his offense on the inside. He couldn't really get that offense off on Vladimir because Vladimir was a stronger guy in the clinch on the inside. But yeah, man, I really want to see Bryant Jennings. A fight that's intriguing to me that I've been thinking about is a fight with Dylan White. Now, Jennings was in the WBC's top 10 before they refreshed their rankings, but he hasn't fought since you know, over a year now. So they took him out of the rankings. So I want to see this guy back in there, man. You know, and you know, I know a lot of fans that come to my page, they try to give me, and I can tell the UK fans and the just a lot of European fans, they like to come and, you know, talk about the American heavyweights and tell me how shitty they are in their opinion. And you know, I mean, if that's what you feel, that's, you know, I'm not going to argue who you think is a good fighter or not. You know what I mean? But are these guys, you know, is this class of American heavyweights, is it the Holyfield, Tyson, and all those type of guys? No, you know, no, it's not. But I do think there is some talent here. I think this wave of talent is better than the talent we had 5, 6, 7, 8 years ago. You know, I definitely believe that. I'm talking about the guys that were, you know, like this, the prospects and the guys that were coming up around then. I think this wave of American heavyweights is better, you know, than the Tony Thompson and the Kevin Johnsons and Travis Walker. I mean, 7, 8 years ago, I think this wave is better. Um, and I think there are some good American heavyweight fights that need to be made. That's one thing. If we want to get the American public back into the heavyweights, because it seems as if only American fighter that fans seem to care about is the American heavyweight is Deontay Wilder. And fair enough, he has the WBC title, so he's a title holder, and I understand that. But man, I think there are some interesting fights that could be made. Like Jarrell Miller can fight Washington. Um, Brazil, I know he's fighting Spilka, but shit, Brazil against Jennings. Jennings against Mansoor. There's some stylistic matchups that'd be great. I mean, fucking Tarver versus Briggs, the two old guy fights. I think there's some good, interesting fights. I know a lot of these guys are going for title shots and they're rated by different sanctioning bodies and they're trying to position themselves to get title shots. But I really believe though, man, to get the American public back into the American heavyweights, we need more than just Deontay Wilder. We need some of these other guys to step up and fight each other. Trevor Bryant is an undefeated prospect that works with Stacy McKinley down there at the Heavyweight Factory. I like to see him step up this year. I know he's fought Derek Rossi, but we need him to step up this year and take a marquee fight. Him against Jennings would be a good fight. You know what I mean? Now, some of these guys are fighting each other. Malik Scott fought Tony Thompson. But there are some other fights that are out there. I understand that there are a lot of European fighters that are in the rankings and making noise, and we need to have the American fighters fight those guys. But at home, though, we need to make some intriguing fights here, man. Then you got guys like Trey Lippe Morrison this coming up. I'm gonna keep an eye out on him. I think he has heavy hands. Now how will he deal with a jab? I guess we'll see. How will he deal with somebody that can put the hurdle him and push him backwards? I guess we'll see. But he does have heavy hands. Does have the bloodline in him. So he's an interesting fighter to keep an eye on. We need to start making these fights, man, to get the American public back into it. Because if we don't make the best fights between the fighters we have here, then people really aren't going to get into these fights, man. Eric Molina, I'm curious to see if he's going to come back. Shit, Molina versus Andy Ruiz Jr. That'd be a good fight. Andy Ruiz Jr. versus Jennings, that'd be a good fight. Let's start making some of these fights at home. You know what I mean? Let's there's some interesting fights here. Shit, Deontay Wilder versus Jennings, I thought had been a good fight. Wilder versus Washington, I think that's a good stylistic matchup. You know what I mean? Now, Wilder, I know he's a title holder, and you guys have heard me say I'm all about unification and all that. Yes, I am, but I'm just talking about some American fights stylistically that I think they'd be great matchups. We need to start making some of these matchups at home. Trevor Bryan, Jarrell Miller. I like that one. A lot of them, man. There's a lot of them out there. So hopefully this year a lot will get done in the heavyweight division, man. But just my thoughts about this Jennings and just the American heavyweights right now. And there's a lot of other prospects I'm leaving out right now. But I'm talking about some of the marquee prospects. I mean, of course, I'm leaving out guys like LaRon Mitchell and Adam Konaski. I mean, there's a lot of them I can name. Alexis Santos is another guy I've watched. Pretty explosive, come forward guy. And there's some guys that are on the come up too. Cassius Chaney and there's a lot of them, man. See, I hate when I start naming them, but we need to start making some of these fights happen to get the public, involved, man. I like the fight that Showtime had when they had Trey Lippe Morrison versus Ed Lattimore. Now, some of you may say, hey, those guys that never win titles. It's like, all these guys aren't going to win titles, man. But to get the public more involved, we need to start seeing some of these fights, these undefeated prospects fight. It'd be intriguing if you turn on the TV and see a 17-0 American prospect versus a 16-0 American prospect. People will get involved in tune. Doesn't mean those guys are going to be champions, but at least we can see some of these guys, can follow their careers, man. I like the fight when Mansoor fought Brazil. There have been some fights made. Now, I'm not saying there's none, but we need more. Let's start making more of these fights. Let me know what you think in the comment section. I'm out.